Recently, I recorded a live seller call where I made a cash offer on a distressed property. On this video, I'm going to break down that call and explain a simple 5-step process I follow with sellers so you can see it in action. All that and more coming up.
For a limited time, you can get a free copy of Jerry Norton's virtual wholesaling guide so you can flip houses online without leaving your home. Download it now at virtualwholesaleguide.com.
Before we dive into the call, let me first explain the context of this call. This call happened a few weeks ago on a 3-hour live stream with my good friend and pro wholesaler, RJ Bates. Now, RJ is one of the best closers I know, and we often go live and take turns calling sellers. This lead and call that I'm going to break down was a pay-per-lead or PPL lead provided by an agency called PropertyLeads. Now, PPL is a marketing method where a lead provider like PropertyLeads does online marketing to generate inbound leads from sellers that are interested in receiving a cash offer. Then someone looking for deals like you or me can purchase those leads and attempt to close those sellers and contract those deals. What's great about PPL leads is you get to cut right to the action and talk to sellers that are interested in selling to a cash buyer. In fact, PropertyLeads offers a special offer for my students and subscribers. I'll put that link in the description below so you can get started with PPL. Now, this call did not result in an accepted offer yet. The seller was stuck at $47,000 cash and I wanted to be at $20,000 cash, but I think in time I have a good shot at getting this deal. Regardless, there is a lot to learn from this call. In fact, RJ said it was one of the best calls he's ever heard me do.
I think that was one of my favorite calls I've heard of yours.
Let's see if you agree. First of all, when calling PPL leads, let me explain the setup. You don't want to do too much prep, if any at all. Even though you have a name and an address, resist the urge to comp the property. You don't know if they will answer the phone or if they still want to sell that property. So any prep ahead of time could be a waste of time. If when a lead answers the phone, there are 4 things that you want to verify and find out in the first 30 seconds. Confirm the name of the seller, confirm the address that you're calling about, confirm the seller still wants to sell that property, and what price do they want for it. Let's cut to the intro of my call so that you can see this.
Yes, hello. This is Jerry Norton. I'm calling for Rich.
Yes, this is he.
Hi, Rich. Calling about a property I believe you want to sell on North Street.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you filled out a form on our website. Looking to see if I can help you out with this. What are you hoping to get for this property?
I'd like to get in the 60s, but I'm open as far as that goes.
Okay.
Now, as you saw, from hello to what's your price happens very quickly. When it comes to price, I would say 7 out of 10 times when you ask the seller's price, they will give you a number, and it's usually a retail number, or what I refer to as the pie in the sky number. The seller on this call, Rich, said he wanted in the 60s, and even he knew it was a pie in the sky number because right after saying he wanted in the 60s, he said he was open to negotiate. A seller giving a high number is normal, so expect that. And also realize that it rarely is their bottom line. They will usually take much less. How low they will go is your job to uncover. Every now and then a seller will throw out a decent discounted initial price, but usually they start out high. 3 out of 10 times the seller won't give a number and they'll try to get you to give the number first. When that happens, don't give a number and come back to that later. Now, the setup is crucial because if done correctly, it puts you in the driver's seat leading the conversation. Next, it's time for step 2, which is to gather basic information and build a property profile. This is where you get your head around the property and the seller's situation and what's going on. There are 6 things that you want to do during this step. First is to look at the location. Is it rural or is it in the suburbs? And how far away to the nearest metro? Now, this is important because if you're wholesaling, a deal is only as good as your ability to find a buyer for it. And cash buyers concentrate in the metro markets. The more rural, the bigger the discount you'll need. Now, the second thing you want to look at is the neighborhood. Use the Google Street View to see the house, but also look at the neighbors and up and down the street. Are the homes well kept, or is there a trailer next door with cars in the front yard on cinder blocks? The third thing to look at is the Zillow value to get an idea on the value of the home. Are you dealing with a $100,000 house or a $500,000 house? How does the Zillow value compare to the seller's initial asking price? Usually they are pretty similar because All sellers know how to look up the Zillow value on their property. The fourth thing to find out is the property details: style of the home, year built, square footage, beds and baths, size of the lot, etc. This is usually readily available online, but sometimes I'll confirm with the seller. Now, the fifth thing to find out is the seller's history or relation to the property. How long have they owned it? What did they pay when they bought it? Do they have a loan on it? And what are they currently using the property for? This is usually where a seller will share why they are selling, but you may want to ask, why are you looking to sell this property to an investor? Remember, at this stage, you're just gathering information on the property. And the sixth thing that you want to find out is a general sense of the condition. Now, be careful here. Don't spend a lot of time on condition. That is a common mistake most wholesalers make. It's not as relevant as you think. You just want a rough idea if the rehab is light, average, or heavy. Sometimes I'll ask the seller more questions about the condition, but it's not because I need more details, but rather to keep the seller talking and engaged while I gather more information. Let's cut to the call where you can see what this looks like.
It does need a bit of work inside. The roof seems to be in good condition, no leaks. On the first floor, the flooring needs to be put back down. I mean, it has a subflooring. It also needs to be either carpeted or the vinyl flooring or something like that needs to be reinstalled on the first floor. And it could use some painting inside as well, too.
Okay. You bought this in 21, looks like?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it a rental?
It had been a rental previously.
What did you use it for? Was this your home?
I basically bought it as an investment. I was thinking about fixing it up and either reselling it or renting it out, but I really never did anything with it as far as that goes. So
Gotcha. And you paid $35 for it, looks like.
Yeah.
Exactly 4 years ago this month.
Yeah.
Okay. But you haven't done much with it, which means it looks pretty much like what I'm looking at here online, or worse.
Well, I'm not sure exactly when those pictures were taken, but they were taken before I purchased it.
So let's recap. Rich pointed out without me asking that it needs work. He talked about the roof, flooring, painting, and so on. Now, I confirmed that he bought it in 2021 for $35,000 and that he hasn't done anything with the property. Now, while gathering information, I saw the old listing for the property on Zillow with pictures when he bought it. So I confirmed that it was in the same condition or probably worse since it's been neglected for the past 4 years. This information told me a lot about what's going on. And in this particular situation, I decided to take a very specific approach with the seller. Since he's an investor, paid $35,000 cash, and hasn't done anything with it for 4 years, I decided to take a more aggressive approach than I would if it was, let's say, a homeowner living in the property. And you'll see that, so keep watching. Now, step 3 is the hardest step because it happens at the same time as step 2 when you're gathering information, and that's to run the numbers to determine your buy price. While you're getting your head around what's going on, you're also comping the property and estimating the rehab cost. Now, this takes practice to keep the seller engaged in the conversation at the same time. Now, you have to keep this high level and do it quickly. On this deal, I saw similar after repair value or ARV comps around $175,000 or so, and I figured the rehab was going to be around $80,000 to $100,000. So I quickly decided that $20,000 to $25,000 would be a good wholesale price for this deal. Now, you may be wondering, what comp tool do I use? And the software that I like to use is PropWire. Now, I love PropWire because, for one, it's free. You can search and download and research and comp without paying any monthly subscription, absolutely free. And their comp tool is really, really good, so you can look at that and comp your properties. I also love that you can do a lot of research on PropWire. I can look up the property. I can find out when the seller bought it, how much he paid. I can find out if he's got a loan, who the lender was, what his interest rate is, how many properties he owns. I can get so much information about each particular deal on PropWire. Now, again, it's free. Just go to joinpropwire.com to start using it. Now, during this step, I may also use comps or repairs to justify my position. I refer to this as being analytical to convince a seller that you need a lower price. No one likes to be lowballed. So if there's a logical reason and your offer makes reasonable sense, a level-headed seller will be open to your offer. You'll see how I did that with Rich in a minute, so keep watching. Now that I have my number, step 4 is to low anchor that offer. But first, I want to give the seller a chance to come down on his price. So I'll usually ask about price again, but this time I'll word it differently and focus on the benefits of a cash offer. Take a listen to this next clip and then I'll break it down.
All right. Well, then let me ask you this. If we could close in a couple of weeks or whenever you want, I could put cash in your pocket as is. You don't have to do anything. I'll take it exactly the condition it's in. What's that number look like?
Would you do 55?
I don't think so. It needs a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. And what would your offer be?
Well, I want to make this work for you and me. So I just want to get real, like cut to the bottom of it, like where you're really at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever number we agree on, I'm going to need to get a little bit of due diligence time. What year was it? This was built in 1900. Almost guarantee you there's foundation problems. I'm looking at one of these pictures in here and I think I'm looking at some sort of dirt foundation. What I would do is I would buy it, add value, create equity through doing work to it and adding value to it. But I got to get my head around that and not take on something that's impossible either.
Understand.
I'm guaranteeing you, if I walked in there, I've got sagging floors in the house. You know what I mean?
The floors did not seem to be sagging last time I was up there.
I'll bet you $100 they are. I just know they are. I've done this a long time. It's 1900 built. Even though it's only 1350 square feet, like you're spending $100,000 to redo this house because everything has to go. And not that many people would even take on a project like that.
Yeah.
You know, most of my investors have like a no pre-1960 rule on buying houses because it's old knob and tube. Who knows what the plumbing's doing? It's probably galvanized, cast iron, sewer line, and it's just a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I can do it, but I think I would need to be more like 20, 25.
Okay.
So notice the way I asked about price again. I said, if I could close fast, buy it as is, and put cash in your pocket, what would that price look like? In other words, I need a better deal than in the 60s. Now he responded by asking if I could do $55,000, which I couldn't. Then he asked what my offer was. Now notice how I didn't give my low anchor price right away. I deflected the question and I focused mostly on the cost of repairs and the reason why I needed a lower price. I talked about how old the home was and how extensive the rehab would be. Then I provided my anchor of $20,000. Next, I want you to watch how he rejects that offer, how we get to his real number, which is still too high. Let's cut to that clip.
I think I would need to be more like 20, 25.
Okay. Tell you what, right now I'm not inclined to that, but I'll keep your number and I'll give you a buzz back within 2 weeks.
I guess what happens in 2 weeks?
I have somebody that had said that they were interested. They were going to put a contract in on it. They've been dragging their feet.
At what price?
About 47.
So when he says he's not inclined to take $20,000 right now, he then asked if he could get back to me in 2 weeks, which means he's somewhat open to it. When I press what happens in 2 weeks, he divulges that he has another buyer at $47,000. Now, normally when a seller says no to the anchor price, I'll come back and I'll say something like, well, how close to $20,000 can you get? And I say that with the hope that we can land at maybe $25,000. But in this case, since he was stuck at $47,000 and we're not even close, and because he's an investor, I took a more aggressive approach. Take a listen.
At what price?
About 47.
Yeah, the reason why is because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's probably one of those wholesalers. Is it a real buyer?
Real buyer.
Okay.
I know the person somewhat.
I just don't believe it because, you know, until somebody puts it in writing and they put earnest money down, it's not real.
Right. Yeah.
Like I have people tell me all the time, well, I got another offer. Really? In writing with earnest money? No, you didn't then. I'm just shooting straight with you. I think if you paid 35 for it in 21, the market's only gotten worse since 21, and that property has only gotten in worse condition sitting idle for 4 years without maintenance.
Right. Yeah.
So there's no way it's worth the same as when you bought it 4 years ago. I mean, 21 was the height of the market, which is why you bought it. Everybody bought everything because, you know, we thought we could never lose and just buy it and sell it for more later. Well, market's slowing down. and it's projected to continue slowing down.
Yeah.
So whatever I think it'll sell for today, it'll probably sell for less when any investor's done with it in a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, honestly, a number at 35 and 21 is 20 and 25. You have to readjust your thought process on things.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what didn't go down? Cost of renovating didn't go down.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
For some reason, that keeps going up no matter what the market does.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I challenged him on this other buyer at $47,000. I called that offer BS, and that his buyer was not a real buyer because he wouldn't commit in writing or put down earnest money. Then I went back to justifying my offer by pointing out how the market is slower and how his property is worth less today than when he bought it at the peak of the market in 2021. I used urgency to help him see that his property will only be worth less as more time goes on. Then I repitched my offer with certainty and confidence with clear expectations on how to move forward. Take a listen.
So like we can get it done and I'll come through. And the way it would work would be I would send you over an agreement at that 20 number. I would probably need like 5 or 7 days of due diligence just to get eyes on it. I already know it needs everything. What I want to know is, am I right at 100 or is it more like 150? So that would give me some time to do that. I also work with quite a few investors. If I'm not the right buyer, I got a huge network of buyers and maybe someone has an appetite for it a little more than me. And then I could still get it moved for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I can get it done, but we do need to be at 20.
Okay. Right now, I'm not really willing to do it at 20, but I might in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Just don't be surprised if you call me in a couple of weeks and it's 15, not 20. I just want to put some urgency on your plate that like you're talking to a legit buyer right now that can get it done. I don't know that you want to screw around too much is all.
Okay.
If you do lock this up with somebody, here's my advice. Make sure they can stand behind it with earnest money.
Right. Yes.
You can lock up anything with no earnest money. And if it doesn't work out, you walk away.
Right.
And then you're strung along. I hate that.
My personal residence, I paid close to $500,000 on it.
Mm-hmm.
They only want to put $1,000 down on the house.
Oh yeah.
On a $500,000 house.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I have an offer today on a property I've got in Detroit. I'm selling it for $75,000. I got a full price offer for $75,000. And then I got a bunch of crap terms, which is like super long inspection, a tiny little earnest money. And I'm like, you're wasting my time. Come back with real terms. So like with yours, I would say give me 7 days just because it is a pretty big project. Give me 7 days. Once the 7 days are up, I will go hard with $5,000 in earnest money on a $20,000 purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Non-refundable, sitting in title. If I don't close, you get my $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it should go. Like, honestly, anybody else who can't do that is not real.
That's true.
So I said to him, I can get it done, but we would need to sign an agreement at $20,000. I would need 5 to 7 days to do due diligence and to see the property. Notice how I explained wholesaling when I said I have a big network of investors that may want it if I can't do it. I reconfirmed that I can perform and get it done at $20,000, but I might not be able to in a few weeks. You see, you have to give indecisive sellers urgency. I told him I might be at $15,000, not $20,000 in a few weeks. Next, I put on my coaching hat on how to handle his other buyer. Take a listen.
So like I would call up your $47,000 buyer that you have and say, let's get it done. Let's put it in writing. Give me some earnest money and let's close.
Today, ironically, I sent him a text and basically said, dragging any further, so we need to either,
Yeah. Stop wasting my time. Exactly.
get it done, crap, or get off the pot.
Do not lock that up with loosey-goosey terms or that person will just string you along and then not perform.
Yeah.
But ask yourself this. If you paid $35,000 in 21, why would someone pay $47,000 in 2025?
Yeah.
Logically, that does not make sense.
Appreciate that.
I like to shoot straight because when that falls through, by the way, when you lock it up for 46, you'll call me back because at least I'm being honest with you where no one else is. Everybody likes to blow smoke up your ass because agents do it, buyers that fish do it. That's just not how I operate. I'm going to tell it straight up how it is, and either you like me or don't, but at least I can sleep at night knowing that I'm doing the right thing to people. And I got to make money. Like, I'm not going to buy something that doesn't make money. So if you were in my shoes, would you pay that price? Probably not.
Yeah.
Well, then why are you wanting me to pay that price?
Understand.
Okay. Well, what do you want to do from here? You want to see if that buyer will come through at that number? Like, I don't want to just leave hanging here. What's our next item?
I want to see, and I'll also tell them, hey, I do have somebody. It's,
I would tell them this. Say, hey, I got another offer. It's a little bit lower, but they're willing to stand behind it with earnest money. You need to get real right now, or I'm going to consider this other offer.
Yeah.
But then, call me back when he gives you excuses.
Got you, Jerry.
I'm your man, right?
Well, hopefully not.
What I'm just saying is, like, when he's done screwing with you and you're ready to get real, like to sell this, call me back and let's get something done.
Okay. Well, thanks, Jerry.
Okay. Yeah. Best of luck to you.
Okay. Have a good day.
Yep. You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you, Rich. Bye.
So I told him, if you do lock this up with that other buyer, get earnest money. He agreed with me that no earnest money means it's not a legit offer. I coached him to call up his $47,000 buyer and tell him to step up to the plate, to tell his other buyer that he has another offer that is lower and to step up or he'll consider that other offer. I reconfirmed the legitimacy of me by saying, give me 7 days and then I'll go hard with non-refundable $5,000 earnest money. I even said, if you paid $35,000 in 2021, why would someone pay $47,000 in 2025? And finally, I tried to get him to commit to me when this other buyer falls through. I said, when you lock it up at 47 and it falls through, call me back. I'm your guy, right? Now, I'm still in contact with Rich. When he's finally ready to get real, I'll be ready. So I'd love to hear from you. Do you agree with RJ that this was a great call? If so, leave a comment and say, Jerry, you're a flipping genius. But seriously, leave a comment and share with me your biggest takeaways from this call. Now, you may be wondering what's next. Well, let's assume that he accepts my offer for $20,000. Now what? Step 5 would be to email him an agreement for him to approve, and then I'd have my due diligence time to get eyes on the property and actively find a buyer. Once I have my buyer, I'd go hard on the earnest money and be prepared for closing. Now, let me give you some free resources. I have my proven seller scripts that I'll give to you for free. I'll also give you my contracts that I use with sellers. I'll give those to you for free as well. I'll put the links to those free downloads in the description below for you. Finally, I want you to watch another call breakdown that resulted in an accepted offer so you can see what that looks like too. Watch that now, and I'll see you on the next video.